It was coordinator day today for the Browns as they prepare for the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. Mary Kay, I thought Joe Woods was very interesting in talking about the defense. Of course, when we talk to these guys now, it's all forward looking. It's about looking to the future. And look, the defense has some bright days ahead of them. And it kind of starts up front when you talk about Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, and the pieces they have up there. I thought Joe Wood said some very interesting things about the defense today.
Yeah, he really did. And Dan, let's start up front. What can you say about Myles Garrett? He had a tremendous season, and they know that they can hang their hat on that again for next year. As far as Jadeveon Clowney is concerned, they want him back. So they will try to re-sign him. And I think he had a good enough experience here this year that he will at least strongly consider coming back. So that's good. And then Joe was also very, very complimentary of Malik Mcdowell. Now, he hasn't graded out well, according to like Pro Football Focus, but they believe that he can go on to be a really good defensive tackle in the NFL. And that's remarkable considering that he hadn't played football in 4 years.
Yeah, and then he's never played pro football. So, I mean, that jump for him has been pretty incredible. And you've got to think there's still plenty of upside with him. The other thing he talked about was the corners. And you've got Denzel Ward, you've got Greg Newsome, Greedy Williams, of course, is that third corner and a guy that can play outside. I mean, he didn't even mention guys like Troy Hill, MJ Stewart, even AJ Green. But when you look at those two cornerstones in that secondary, Denzel Ward on one side, who's a Pro Bowler, Greg Newsome, who's been really good this year and was really good against Pittsburgh on the other side. The future is very, very bright in that secondary. If you have two guys on the outside that can lock people down.
Absolutely. So impressed with the secondary this season. Denzel Ward, in my opinion, after a little bit of a slow start, played the best ball I have ever seen him play in a Browns uniform. He's just taken his game to a whole new level. He's locking it down on his side of the field. And I think Greg Newsome is headed for Pro Bowl status over the next couple of years. I think he's going to be really, really good. He had a few injury issues, a little bit of COVID stuff going on this season. But next year, when he hits that ground running, I think you're going to have two Pro Bowl caliber cornerbacks. And I remember talking to Grant Delpit a few weeks ago, and he said, we want to be the best secondary in the NFL. I think they have a chance to do it.
And they certainly have the building blocks for that. As well. And look, we heard from Mike Prefer today, and as he has before, he talked about wanting to be a head coach. But if I remember correctly, he also mentioned something when he was asked about Joe Woods, that Joe Woods has a chance to be a head coach someday. And that's certainly not a surprise given how this defense has performed really ever since that New England game. They've really turned it around.
They really have. I wrote recently that I think it's a championship caliber defense. I really believe that. If these guys were in the playoffs right now, I think any offense, including Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, might not want to face this Cleveland Browns defense in the playoffs. That's how good they are and how good they can be. And they've still had, 4 or 5 guys missing each one of these games. So yes, I think that Joe Woods will probably get some attention, maybe even this year for some of these head coaching interviews. And if he doesn't, it's a shame.
So Sunday, the Browns, we'll keep an eye on things. Malik Jackson goes on the reserve COVID-19 list. Jadeveon Clowney did not practice on Thursday. Malik McDowell did not practice on Thursday. But look, whatever happens on Sunday, the future for this defense is bright, regardless of whether those guys play or not. And regardless, we're going to be there. We're going to cover it. Cleveland.com/Browns is where you can find all of it.